So I was scrolling through the news today and I came across this opinion piece from The Hill. And to be honest, generally I consider The Hill to be a pretty centrist outlet, but sometimes they run things like this that kind of bother me a little bit. So let's read the title. This guy named Lanny Davis, he's a lawyer, he has former Clinton administration connections. This guy seems a pretty big shot lawyer in DC, works in crisis management. Anyhow, the title of this article, his op-ed that he wrote is, "It's time to correct the record again. Hillary Clinton did not have a single email marked classified." Oh, man. If you're someone who tries to pay attention to the news, you can kind of pick up on the fact that this is a dishonest headline. But for those of you who have better things to do with your time than reading the news all day, I'll go ahead and go into a little bit as to why this is dishonest. But I'll go ahead and I'm not going to bury the lead. I'll just go right into it. Nobody's talking about whether Clinton had classified documents. Clinton intentionally destroyed public record. That's, if you want to take away a short gist of what this is, that's it right there. But basically, this guy is going into a long-winded explanation as how Clinton's email scandal is very different from Trump's scandal with the National Archive. So let's start reading a little bit. There has been substantial media coverage of President Biden and former Vice President Pence both removing marked classified documents outside the White House after they left the vice presidency, and in the case of Biden, also including after he was a U.S. Senator. Both insist they did so inadvertently. Of course, the word inadvertent does not apply to former President Trump's behavior. As we know now from Mr. Trump's own admission, he knew documents he took from Mar-a-Lago were classified because he said he had the right to declassify them. All right, let's go ahead and take a break right there. He's claiming that Trump did not do this inadvertently. First off, I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure most of these former heads of state have some sort of classified document in their possession that they probably shouldn't really have. But let's assume that we should try and enforce this as much as possible, not leave classified documents lying around everywhere. Trump's not saying whether or not he inadvertently took that document. What he's saying is it doesn't matter whether he took it inadvertently or not. He's saying that as president, when he took it, intentionally or not, he had the power to declassify it. Therefore, he should not be in trouble with this. Now, you might say that's a bit of a stretch for how you can make this operate. I mean, it's essentially, he can just kind of claim that whatever he said he can claim anything in the past was declassified, so therefore no rules really apply to him. Which is pretty broad and sweeping. And if you take it that far, then by the same token, Biden can get himself out of trouble by saying that, those documents that he had, well, I guess he can declassify those as well. I mean, unless you are going on the grounds that you can punish someone for the thing they did with the office that they did at the time, that they had at the time. So, since Biden was only a U.S. Senator or a U.S. Vice President at the time they took those documents, therefore it's illegal. Okay, fine, I guess. Because Trump was president when he took those documents, it's different? I don't know. But, I mean, the core of their argument is basically that because Trump was imagine if Trump has to go negotiate with a foreign leader, and in order to persuade them to take course of action A or B, he tells them some classified information. I'd assume that means that he has declassification powers right then and there. Snap his fingers, boom, declassify to whoever he wants to declassify it to, or give permission of this stuff to. So, yeah, does anybody really care about this whole document scandal? I don't know. It's certainly something that's picked up in the media a lot. A lot of people are complaining about it. Personally, I'm like, okay, so he had some classified documents. Not a great thing, but when you look at the fact that he had it in this giant, he had a big stack of boxes, 15 boxes total, right? And it was full of what? Newspaper clippings, magazines, his own personal notes, whatever. It seems kind of dumb that you're going to go after this guy for this stuff. It sounds like it's just a big pile of junk. Maybe he's going to use it to write a book or a memoir or something. I don't know, but it's mixed in there with a bunch of crap. It seems kind of tough to go with that, bro. And also, this guy let's keep going with the article for a little bit. The opinion piece, I should say. And unlike Mr. Biden and Mr. Pence, who immediately notified the Department of Justice and the National Archives when they found the documents and have fully cooperated since, Mr. Trump resisted and forced a federal judge to issue a search warrant to retrieve dozens of conspicuously marked classified documents. All right, we're stopping again. Look, I'm going to say I think this guy is really dishonest. I think he's I think he's a POS. I think he's a liar, if I'm being completely honest with this. But let's go ahead and debunk that claim right now. I got from CNN Politics right here. Let's go ahead and read. Christina Bobb, Trump's attorney, said the FBI seized documents. President Trump's hang on. All right, moving to the next paragraph. Started a little early. There was communication between the FBI and the U.S. Secret Service before the search warrant was executed Monday, a person familiar with the matter said, allowing for the FBI to access the estate without any complications. There is only a small Secret Service footprint at Mar-a-Lago when Trump is not there. All right, so here's what I'm taking away from that. Basically, the FBI was able to access Mar-a-Lago, have access to the documents without that much trouble. So how exactly is he resisting anything? Let's also go on to the actual affidavit that they had. Yeah. The National Records had ongoing communications with the representatives of former President Trump throughout 2021, which resulted in the transfer of 15 boxes to the National Records in January of 2022. All right. So National Records was in ongoing communications with them. Trump willingly, voluntarily gave the boxes. And then later they come in with a search warrant and they basically go and forcibly search. It doesn't make sense. But yeah, so going back to our little opinion piece from, was it Lanny Davis? Yeah, Lanny J. Davis. That's his name. The idea that somehow Trump was trying to resist doesn't make a whole lot of sense. He was voluntarily letting these people in. The FBI even gave him a padlock to use or told him to use a padlock to secure his documents. He had Secret Service protecting his house, even when he was there and when he was not there. It's hard to imagine that these documents were unsecure. Further, let's also take into account that Biden had his own classified documents in a garage. Does that sound any more secure than Mar-a-Lago with Secret Service? I don't know, maybe Biden's Delaware home had Secret Service protecting that too. But were they protecting his old office at the University of Pennsylvania? I don't think so. In a sane world, you'd say that this stuff shouldn't be prosecuted, that we should all just be like, okay, so what? Big deal, some documents, go pick them up and put them in the National Archives, done with the matter. But we're dealing with what looks like a small-scale, I guess, civil or political conflict where you have essentially a pro-Biden faction that wants to get rid of Trump. That's my general opinion of this. But let's keep going on with our opinion piece. This guy makes another claim. Recently, pro-Trump MAGA Republicans and even many in the mainstream media have inaccurately reported that then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton transferred identifiable classified information in her emails to her private server. All right. I'd like to see some sources on this. Maybe he has some, but in this opinion piece, he hasn't really given me anything. But let's assume that for his sake, maybe that's kind of true. Well, why should that matter right now? From what I recall, sure, there was some classified info in the Clinton documents. I mean, this guy even goes on to mention it, that only 3 emails contained a lowercase c in the middle of a paragraph, indicating that this stuff was classified. So, but basically because it's a relatively unknown classification marking, she probably wouldn't have known it, and so therefore innocently handed it off. Okay, sure, she's Secretary of State. We're just going to pretend that she didn't know this stuff was classified and couldn't identify classified markings. All right, we're gonna make another big assumption with that one, okay? But let's get back to the main point. She had 33,000 emails that were deleted. Where is it? I got the source right around here. ABC, yeah. This article goes back to when the 2016 election was going on. Clinton is doing her best to move beyond the controversy over her use of a private email server as Secretary of State, saying only last night that she made a mistake in declining to address why those emails were deleted. So she deleted them. She deleted the emails. Why is it a big deal that she deleted those emails? Those emails are public records. Let's see, where is it? That's not that one. This one. All right. So this is from the January 6th committee. This is their little webpage thing that they have going on right now. What happened on January 6th and why it matters? Well, if we go ahead and scroll down a little bit. There we go. Why is taking documents from the White House illegal? The Presidential Records Act of 1978. According to them, it requires presidents and White House staffers to preserve official documents, communications, and records to give to the National Archives. All right? Well, I'm not sure if Secretary of State qualifies as a staffer, but I think it would probably. But let's keep going. We got from Ballotpedia. Actually, other Ballotpedia. There we go. Public records can also be considered any mail or communication between state agencies and those in the legislature. All right, so typically, there's a trend here that I'm kind of getting. Oh, hang on, we got more sources first. We have from Wisconsin Department of Justice. So this is probably more Wisconsin law, but essentially content, not format, determines whether something is a record. Doesn't matter how or where the information is stored, whether it be a piece of paper in a database or in an email. So basically, communications can be public records. We also have a blog from a professor at the University of North Carolina, Freda S. Bluestein. If an email is made or received in connection with the transaction of public business, it is a public record. All right, so pretty clear chain of thought here. Communications of public officials in their public duty, public office, public role, whatever, that is a public record. So let's go back to what we had said. She deleted public records, all right? This guy, it bothers me that this guy is writing this piece. I'm not sure what there's a term for it, a popular term that's just not eluding me right now, but basically, it's almost like a false scent. It's an article you write so that liberals can go on here, or people who are pro-Biden, I guess you can say. They can go on here, they can read his op-ed and think, oh yeah, Hillary Clinton, what she did, not that bad. She deleted 33,000 public records. I think that's a pretty big deal. We got from the New York Times back when back when the 2016 campaign was going on. Mrs. Clinton is not the first government official or first Secretary of State to use a personal email account on which to conduct official business, but her exclusive use of her private email for all of her work appears unusual, Mr. Barron said. The use of private email accounts is supposed to be limited to emergencies, experts. So, yeah, I can recall no instance in my time at the National Archives when a high-ranking official at an executive branch agency solely used a personal email account for the transaction of government business. This comes from a guy named Mr. Barron. He worked for an agency between 2000 and 2013. I'm guessing it's the National Archives. So, yeah, she deleted 33,000 public records. And here's this guy acting like it's not exactly a big deal. Meanwhile, Trump had 15 documents of what essentially amounts to random pieces of literature, whether it's from newspapers, handwritten notes, or those classified documents that people are so worried about. These documents were relatively better guarded than most other things, I could say. They had Secret Service agents guarding them. I would imagine that's relatively secure. If someone comes snooping around his private home, I think Secret Service would realize that it's happening. So yeah, what is this? Gaslighting the right word? I'm not sure, but it's just a false sentiment to get you off of the fact that what Clinton did also bad. Further, what Trump did, is it really that big of a deal? What were we up to? We have Pence who had classified documents. We had Biden that had classified documents. Heads of state, after they leave office, seem to have a trend of keeping these public records with them. Probably not always intentional. But there's the issue of, if Trump's getting punished for it, why isn't anybody else? And it's not like Trump wasn't trying to communicate or trying to resist, all right? I think it's already been kind of established that he wasn't. At the direction of these agencies, he put a padlock on there, right? Anyhow, I want to go on a little rant about that because it just, you read things like this and it gets you frustrated because it just, ordinary people, they don't necessarily pay attention to the news all day long. Some people do. It's not exactly the healthiest thing for you, but people like me, just addicted, can't stop reading the news. And when you see something like this, you just kind of wonder, how is it that people just how is it these people get away with lying like this, essentially? because that's what I consider this to be. They call it a lie isn't quite accurate. He's not saying something that's untrue. He's saying a bunch of things that are true, but he's trying to shift the conversation away from the fact that Trump had some stuff at Mar-a-Lago, some classified documents, and he's removing the context that Trump was president. You can argue that he was able to declassify them, and it's not a big deal, while also simultaneously comparing it to Hillary Clinton. I don't recall who mentioned Hillary Clinton around this. Seems like Biden and Pence keep getting brought up. I haven't seen anything about her, but this guy's bringing up Clinton as a way to try and confuse people, I guess. It's just getting people off topic. Clinton destroyed 33,000 public records. And yes, she had classified info in those public records on her private email server. Yeah, Trump, I'd say more than likely, inadvertently taking classified info, whereas Clinton intentionally destroyed public record. Seems like a big deal to me, a pretty substantial distinction, but you get guys like this. Let's scroll down to this article so we can read a little bit about who this man is. Lanny Davis served as a special counsel to President Bill Clinton in 1996 to 1998, and on a post-9/11 Privacy and Civil Liberties panel appointed by President George W. Bush. That's funny. Post-9/11 Privacy and Civil Liberties. Yeah, what is that? I recall the Patriot Act being passed around that time. Sure, there's a bunch of privacy and civil liberties that got eroded right there. He is a co-founder of the Washington law firm Davis Goldberg Galper PLLC, specializing in legal crisis management in support of litigation and other legal issues, and Trident DMG, a public relations and strategic communications firm. His most recent book, published in 2018, was The Unmaking of the President, 2016, How FBI Director James Comey Cost Hillary Clinton the Presidency. Published by Simon & Schuster. It's absolutely ridiculous when you think about it. This guy, a guy who used to work for the Clinton admin, essentially, right? Comes out defending his wife. I don't know, man. It's surprising to me that The Hill would run a piece like this. I mean, I guess in one respect you can say it kind of makes sense because he's connected to the Clintons in a way, professionally, and through his career. But if you're asking me, not exactly an objective perspective here. So yeah, just to return back to our original takeaway, nobody's talking about whether Clinton had classified documents. She destroyed public record. That's just a matter of fact. I've already demonstrated multiple sources proving she destroyed public records. Her communications were public record. She destroyed them. Unless for some reason those aren't public record, but I sincerely doubt that. I mean, she had classified information in her emails. I don't know who she's sharing classified information with in her private emails, but that's probably sounds like something that's no longer private and is a matter of public concern, right? And by destroying those emails or trying to delete them, I mean, sure, the FBI was able to recover most of them, or if not all of them, but come on. She tried to delete those things. There's a whole narrative, what is it, that Trump said that Clinton acid washed her server to destroy them. Well, I heard somewhere else that she used a program called BleachBit to cleanse it, but it's frustrating when you read this stuff and you just wonder, no one said anything about Clinton. All what you hear about in the news is Biden, Pence, Trump. And now we're dragging Clinton back into this. Supposing like 2016 will never die. In the same respect, I doubt 2020 will ever die. No. That certainly paints a kind of grim outlook for the future, but hey, I don't know what else to do about it. Hopefully, the world does get better. Anyhow, if you liked hearing this, or if you like my opinions, consider liking and subscribing. I try to present the news the best I can because, well, I read too much of it. Not everyone's interested in hearing what I have to say about it, so this is just kind of a means for me to just kind of rant by myself. But if you stuck around this long, thanks for listening. Have a good one. Bye.